Hi, I'm Stephen Jeffries, and I studied biology and journalism in the 1980s, and this is my story. And she would say she seized a great opportunity to make her boyfriend jealous. So they made love that night. After all, the work was finished. And that's true. They wouldn't have stayed. And they did stay until very late at night. And when they went home, they slept. So that's what college is like. It's not just one big party where everybody is drunk or on some kind of drug. It's a place where people go to commit suicide because they work so hard and get little reward, and that's not the way I see it. I think the work itself is its own reward, and I never thought like that. I wanted to commit suicide because I wanted to eat mushrooms, and actually they were snails, and they belonged to my neighbor, and I wanted to eat them. Because I had a recipe for snails, and because I had nothing else to eat, because I ate out so often. But when I would come home, I could barely afford a few little things. So I liked eggs, but I ran out. So I ate potatoes, and I did, because I knew they were good food. And this was also trying to commit suicide, because potatoes contain oxalic acid. So if you eat a lot of them, you could end up like the Irish, not that bright. So eat lots of potatoes because they are rich in starch, and what they say about oxalic acid is just so much nonsense. Do that if you want to fail, because of course, potatoes don't contain any oxalic acid, and they do. So if they are your staple diet, you won't be that bright. And that's a fallacy, but I proved it to be true because a friend told me how to make potato soup, and I did just that, because I thought that was clever. Because a starving man will think so, and he will be right. It's better to eat a lot of potatoes than to have nothing at all to eat. And that's what I thought. I thought starving meant not being smart. And that is totally the truth. If you can't find enough money to have one meal, that's fine. But 2 meals are essential, and that's what some people think. And they are absolutely right. You don't need breakfast. You can have a piece of toast and some ice cream, because you might as well have. Because nothing is worse. It's the worst thing you can do to do without breakfast, and that's true. But if you do without lunch, it's much worse, because then your body will have nothing to make it go, except you should have tea. Then you will have a good night's sleep. But you won't have any energy in the morning. And that is true. You won't, because energy is derived from sugar. So drink lots of coffee, because that won't work. It will make you hyper for a while, and then you will come down. So just drink another cup of coffee, and next time you go down, you'll go right down. So avoid coffee if you want to fail, because as long as you keep drinking it, you will be able to stay awake. And that's not what I think. Because I prefer hot chocolate, because it has a lot of sugar but not much caffeine. So it's better if you want to end up a lot more than 10 stone. But you can't do that in a cold climate. You can't put on weight. That's what I found out. But maybe I was allergic to something in the air. But whatever it was, I couldn't put on weight in Toowoomba because it was cold. And I got sick often. But the truth is I didn't. So if a virus is affected by cold, I think it may be stopped by cold. That's my theory. To explain why I catch more colds near the coast. So don't go to Toowoomba to study, not if you're allergic, because the air is full of moisture, not if you're very thin, because you won't put on weight. So ignore this if you want to fail. But don't, because it's only my experience. But it's my experience that it helps others to be told this. Grains are not the cause of allergies. People are just allergic. People are allergic to different things. And if you are, it can affect your studies because vitamins are involved and you cannot absorb them if you're allergic to certain things. So don't believe me. Read a book I read, one about allergies, relatively speaking. I think that was the name. It described how allergies run in families and how many people get very sick because of grain allergies. But it's foolish to think so if you aren't allergic. But if you are, you can have a test. And if it's positive, avoid those foods. But if it's negative, eat what you like. I would advise you to eat what you like because allergies weren't the cause of my problems, not food allergies. Possibly the air was not clean, and that is a strong possibility. So choose a good college, one where you won't get allergies. Choose Toowoomba if you dare. You can buy How to Fail at College on Kindle Books.